see you again. Thank you for joining me. A couple things. Number one, in real life, I don't move this fast unless, well, I just don't move this fast. Number two, it is not really 2001, January 1st. I'm trying out some new video equipment, and apparently my life is in sepia tone until further notice. So I do apologize for that. But I decided to film the cleaning of this workstation because time is money, and you're going to sit here and just enjoy every red second of the mystery of will he or won't he pick up that last paintbrush and put it away. And there you go. Everything in its place. Harley towel intact, looking good. Get every little crumb off of it. This violin I'm working on here is owned by the brother-in-law of a good friend of mine, and I'm doing it. This is the second time I've worked on it. I worked on this instrument probably about a year ago, maybe. It's been a while. I put a bridge on it and some new pegs and the fittings and everything. He got it and it was just basically bare bones, and it had some pegs in it, but it just really was not in good shape. So I put a new set of pegs in it before, and you can see there I'm pointing at a little bump that had happened. Apparently he had hung it on the wall after we got it back to him, and I told his brother-in-law, bring it back to me. I think I've learned a couple of new tricks from UNH that I can apply to it. Maybe we can squeeze a little bit better sound out of it, because it wasn't an excellent sounding violin. It was okay. It was kind of just an old fiddle. And so I got it back from him, and apparently when he took it down from the wall, something happened with the dog, and it ended up getting dropped, broke the bridge. And as you can see later on, it cracked the G tuning peg and chipped out some of the A tuning peg on the back end. So I just took it in and decided to readjust it and everything for him. So that's the project I'm working on today. As you can see, spotted a little bit more damage where it had been dropped, chipped off a little bit of the corner there. This is a violin. It's very amateurly made. The back of it's kind of flat. It doesn't have a big steep arching, and the ribs are actually very beautifully flamed. The back, it's got some moderate flaming to it. It's nothing really crazy special as far as like the design of it, but it being a cool old fiddle, it's probably a couple $100 fiddle. I enjoyed really working on it, but the fingerboard, not sure what kind of wood it is. I think it may be maple, if I'm not mistaken. Just stained really dark, almost like a cherry stain to it. But the name inside says F.U. Horton, F.U. Horton. I'm not trying to be vulgar, that's what it actually says. It looks like it was made in Berkeley, California in 1989. It was written in pencil. I've tried to do a little bit of research on it. I can't find anything as far as any famous makers out of California with the last name Horton or anything of that nature. So it's still a pretty cool old fiddle, and we've dressed it up really nice with the gold fine tuners and the eyelid on the tailpiece and on the tuning pegs and on the end button. It just looks really fancy now, and it's, if anything, it's a cool old fiddle to play, and cool to see it hanging on a wall if that's what you want to do. But hopefully it'll be played a lot more. But yeah, so today we'll be pulling the sucker apart and diving into it. Mostly I wanted to redo this project because of the bridge. I wasn't really originally happy with the bridge. I think I did this violin before I went to UNH and studied under them for the couple of weeks that I did, and so I knew nothing of bridges. The gentleman who asked me to work on it bought a set of strings and the tailpiece and a blank bridge and some sound posts, and said, you can keep all the extra parts, just do what you can with it. So I installed a sound post, which I've cut sound posts for a while, so that wasn't really a big challenge back then. And I got the height right on the bridge, but I didn't do any trim work, any of what they call the fancy cuts, where you thin down certain areas and kind of add bevels to things, and I didn't get too carried away with it. But after I learned a lot about what a fancy fine cut bridge could do for an instrument, I went back and I felt better about giving him a good quality product. And I used a better quality bridge this time, one of my own personal ones that I've found in my collection that I've had for a long time. A lot of the tools that I use in these videos, I've owned them for 20, 30 years. Back when I was a cabinet maker, I thought about being a violin maker or instrument repairman, and I bought a whole bunch of the tools. I bought some of the bending irons, I bought calipers galore, I bought chisels, different saws, and books and books and books on the subject. So I've been preparing for this for at least 20 years. But now it all comes down to this: the sharpening of the pencil. I know you guys were wanting finer detail of the whole process, so here you go. Getting that pencil good and sharp. Oh, dang it. Pencil. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, so we're going to try to give this violin a little bit more life, and we'll see what we end up with. But first, you have to make sure your pencil is properly prepared, because if it has the slightest chip in it, it's not going to work properly. So we're going to do a few test patterns before we even get started on writing on the bridge, because it's even more so important than having a sharp knife is having a sharp pencil. And before I started all this, I was told I wasn't the sharpest pencil in the box. So, you see what I did there? Oh, look, it's like I'm a YouTuber. I'm begging for subscribers and the thumbs up. Good Lord, look at what kind of thumb is. Oh, man, I'm so embarrassed. Anyway, put that there. Pick this up and act like I'm thinking. I'm pondering at the moment. It's on YouTube. How to fix the bridge. No, just kidding. So, the pencil, again, is the most important part. No, what I'm trying to do here is show how strong I am by snapping said pencil. And now I have 2 broken ends. Like I said before, the pencil is the most important part. But, wow, I totally jump cut that, so my apologies. And I'm trying to show you with a very blurry lens my tiny pencil, apparently. No, I've marked the feet, or I'm going to mark the feet. Placing it down, that's why I needed the pencil so short, so I could kind of copy that bevel without having to bump into the fingerboard or anything. So I'm tracing the angle of the arching of the top onto the back and the front of the feet of the bridge. Then I'm going to do a little bit of knife work and cut some of that out. And then I'm going to turn it over to my bridge sanding guide. Now, some people feel more comfortable doing it with a knife. To be honest, I feel more comfortable about getting it right, so I would trust a piece of sandpaper and the rolling guide to get it exactly the way I want it. I can get it relatively close to the knife. But to save time, I've decided to go this route. one thing I've failed to mention in some of these videos, and I've posted it in the little transition bars and things, the music, most of the music that I use that is repetitive comes from one CD from a good friend of mine, Mr. Adam French, and his album is called Redeemed. Adam and his lovely wife Stacy are orchestra directors in Grayson County, Kentucky, and just two of the nicest people you could ever imagine meeting. And to be such an amazing fiddle player and to be that humble is something I never thought I would find in two of those qualities in the same person, because most fiddle players are just cocky and think they're all that, and Adam is just the most down-to-earth person you could ever imagine meeting. And I met him about 10 years ago when I started teaching orchestra in Woodford County, and he has just been just the nicest person I've ever met. And anybody who knows Adam knows exactly what I'm talking about. The man would give you the shirt off his back. He is a wealth of fiddle knowledge, an amazing fiddle player that I could only dream of being like. But I called him up and I said, hey man, I'm doing this video series. I need some killer fiddle tunes, and you're the man. Would you mind if I use some of your fiddle music? And he said, absolutely, go for it. And so, Adam French, thank you, brother. I really appreciate it. You're an amazing guy. I love you and your family. I think you guys are great. And please enjoy his fiddle music. He is the king. Now, one thing I'm doing here is just kind of putting a little mark on the front so I know which part faces which way, because sometimes when you start shaping these feet, it's easy to get turned around and start carving on the wrong thing on the wrong side that you don't intend to carve. So I find it just helps me to put a little mark there. Sometimes I'll just take the end of a pen and put 3 dots there, and I know for me that's my symbol for it facing the inside of the fingerboard. So I watched Zara Whittle from Old Town Violins do this, and I watched Ben Mason do this. He used a knife. He was so comfortable using his knife, and I've done that before, not used a sandpaper, but I had the tool, so I figured I'd use it. But I feel it really gets it. I like the contact it makes with the top of the instrument after you've sanded it. I mean, it's perfect if you do it right, nice and slow. There, I'm just kind of checking the alignment, making sure I've got the bridge in there far enough. There, I've done the Atlanta Braves chop behind it, so you know it's good. And now small moves. If you do a lot of work with your knife, you don't really have to do much sanding, and I kind of like to do a hybrid of both. I do a little bit with the knife, and that makes the sanding a lot lighter and goes by a lot faster. Now, as you can see here, there's a bevel from front to back because of the arching that goes from the end of the neck to the end button. You can see the tilt I'm holding my hand. That's the angle we're getting. That not only is it a bass side to treble side angle, but or a bass side to treble side arc. There is a bevel going from the top of your instrument to the bottom toward the tailpiece. So it being a compound angle that you're kind of dealing with there, you want to make sure that you do everything you can to make sure it's making exact contact with that top of that instrument so you can get every drop of vibration that that bridge can produce. Good Lord, why do I take these awesome angles and show you my gut hanging out there? Oh, this is how you file this bridge, and nobody's thinking about that bridge. They're thinking about my gut. Oh, gosh. That's it. From here on out, I'm wearing a girdle. Now, I can't do this without thinking of Mr. Jeremy Bartell and his father, Paul, when I was at Ohio State the past summer in 2019, and they were there, of course, doing their string workshop from Brogue Violins. And Jeremy, I was one of the last to leave the class and asking him questions about bridge shaping, and he gave me a whole set of patterns for all the sizes of violin, talking 16 through 4/4. All of them for cello, viola, and bass. He was like, here you go. They were hand-cut patterns that they'd used in their shop. They were brand new cut, some of them, and, they'll shrink over time, and I should probably someday buy me a professional set. But I was really appreciative of him giving me those, because it helped me out a lot. So, story time. I guess I could tell you the story of how I got started in music, or music education. When I was about 17, I had zero direction. I had no idea what I was wanting to do with my life. And it's funny because, as a teacher now, I start asking kids this question about 7th or 8th grade because they think they should be asked. And I wonder if I didn't really think about it because nobody really asked me. But my junior year, I had no direction. The most I'd done for career preparation was taking a typing class, I assume. Didn't want to play football. Everybody begged me to because I was a 6'2" gorilla. But it just wasn't me. I enjoyed playing music with my friends. We played guitar, most of us. But I had a friend, Jody Reisner, ask me, he said, hey man, you need to join this orchestra we have. We have guitars in it, and I play bass. You play guitar, so we should join it. So a couple of my other guitar buddies and I joined this orchestra program, and bless Merle Reisner's heart, he had violins, violas, cellos, basses, and about 9 guitars back in the back banging away on chords. And he wrote the music out for us. And about the end of my junior year, going into senior year, a friend of mine said, hey Barcy, go over there and pick up that violin. It'd be funny to see you try to play it, because I was a big guy. Well, I played an E and an A on it as a double stop, and about lost my mind. I realized at that second, that's the sound I want to make for the rest of my life. And so I went up to Mr. Merle Reisner, and I said, Mr. Reisner, next year I want to play violin. And he said, you can't, kid, your hands are way too big. Well, I got mad, so I went home. And then I went to Kaler's music store and put a violin in layaway, and the sweet old man there let me take it home and pay it off when I could. And I taught myself how to play Arkansas Traveler with the intent of going in and playing for Mr. Merle Reisner and quitting orchestra my senior year, because how dare he insult me in that nature. So I go in at the beginning of my senior year and I play for him. He says, good, you can sit in the front with the other violinists who already know how to play. And so it was sink or swim for me. And I got started when I was 17 in music, on a dare to go pick up that violin because it would look funny. So when I start to get down, I think about Mr. Reisner and how much he's changed my life, and how he took a kid with hands way too big and taught him how to play fiddle. Thanks, Merle.